Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to a brand new live stream on the LFC News YouTube channel. I am Ben, and today I'm joined by my good friend Jamie from Jamie Football Chats. Is it Jamie Football Chats?
Jamie Phillips Football Chat. Yeah.
James Phillips Football Chats. There we go. The link is in the description for his channel, so make sure you go check him out. Brilliant content creator. You stream pretty much all the time, don't you, mate?
As much as I can these days, yeah. As much as I can these days.
Yeah, it gets crazy. We're literally going to be talking about what the title suggests, guys. We're going to be going back to the start as to when Arne Slot was appointed, or even maybe just slightly before that, because I feel like there was a big day leading up to that moment when he was appointed. And we're going to be breaking down each competition, how we've done in it so far. Obviously, the FA Cup hasn't been played yet, but we will sort of discuss that alongside the Carabao Cup, the Football League Cup. And yeah, we'll just talk about everything, transfers or lack of transfers, maybe whether, you know, the owners did enough or whatever your thoughts and opinions are. Let us know in the comments. We'll get your comments up on the screen. Everybody can have their own say. Everybody can have their own opinion. And Jamie, I think that's the best thing about your channel as well. You see a lot of YouTube channels where they're trying to sort of dictate either way, but I feel like you just let anyone come on that's got an opinion. So yeah, that's the sort of vibe you go for, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, it's like everyone's welcome on my channel. It don't matter what your beliefs are in Liverpool and all that, and what you hate and what you don't. You know, anyone's welcome, man. Everyone's got something they don't like and something they like, and I think it's always good having different opinions on your football club. Personally,
Exactly. Guys, there's 20 in here right now. Make sure you're smashing the like button on entry. I'm sure more people will come as the stream goes on. If you're watching this on replay as well, make sure you're smashing the like button and subscribing if you haven't already. We've got some amazing content coming up over the next few days. We've got a show with a journalist, which I'm not going to confirm yet because I still haven't got a date or time. I think, fingers crossed, we're just about there. But that will be coming hopefully this week. So make sure you look out for that one. And that's going to be the show where we can ask him all the questions and, yeah, see if he can give us any answers to what we a lot of people are going crazy about right now. But let's get some comments. There's some straight away. Tony says, go Liverpool forever. We need to buy some back players young. Do you mean young defenders? I think that's probably what Tony means. Big up, Tony. And Clark says, when are we going to shore up our boys? This needs to happen now. Again, we will get into that. I'm pretty sure you're alluding to the defense as well. But to be fair, on record, our defense is very, very good. So I'm not sure. If that's not what you meant, please correct me and let me know. But yeah, Jamie, let's go back to the start. Let's go back to the beginning. I think that's always the best place to start, believe it or not.
yeah.
Yeah, there was one day, I believe, in the Liverpool hemisphere or Twitter sphere where, like, we were all pretty sure it was going to be either Ruben Amorim or Xabi Alonso. I'm pretty sure most people thought it might be one of those two. And then out of nowhere on the betting odds, I'm not sure how much you guys pay attention to betting odds personally. I'm not a betting guy. I don't advise betting. Take care of your money, look after it. But Arne Slot came out of nowhere, Jamie, to go to favourite. And I think that was the point where, as a collective on social media, Liverpool fans thought, actually, this is our guy now. So I want to know how you were feeling, not after he was appointed, because I think a lot of people that were a bit unsure when he was actually appointed were a bit more warmer to it. But your initial feeling when you saw that Arne Slot was favourite to be Liverpool manager, what was you thinking, bro?
See, when I go back to it all, when Jurgen said he was leaving, I always knew it was going to be the most difficult thing Liverpool have had to do in this new era that we're in, and replacing him was always going to be difficult. And for me, the management, you know, I look at managers around Europe and around England right now, and then I don't think it's at its strongest it's been. And the best managers are at clubs where you probably feel like you ain't going to get them. I mean, Ancelotti, Madrid, Simeone, Atletico, you know, obviously Pep at City. These managers are safe where they are. You know, you're not going to get. So then you're looking at a rung down, ain't you? And then when we heard, obviously, I think Alonso was the one most Liverpool fans put their heart into, because obviously everything associated with Alonso. And, you know, he was obviously Liverpool's first choice, and they tried for him. It never happened. I don't think Liverpool are ever after the sporting guy, personally, because the way he plays, it's just not the way Liverpool want to play. And I remember Michael Edwards saying that the new manager, they don't want to change too much. They just want a bit more of a fresh approach, but they don't want to overhaul the whole side because it doesn't need overhauling. And then obviously when Arne Slot got, it was out of nowhere. I think I was actually doing a live at the time, and it went breaking news that he's favourite for the job. And I went, really? So last time I heard about Arne Slot, I think Tottenham were after him, and he turned them down a year before. Mm-hmm. So I went and checked on him, and it's like when I went and checked on him and did my research now, I was like, oh, this is the guy, This is the guy, because his approach to football is what today's game is all about. His personality, I think, is infectious. I like his personality. I like the way he talks. I went back and watched quite a few of his games as well. I even went back and watched the AZ Alkmaar games, and I just knew from then that I think this is the right guy. And I think, we're a club that is not relied on, spending stupid amount of money on players and things like that. We like to do it from, a rung down, whatever way we do it, whatever people moan about, sell to buy, whatever it is, it's what we do. So you want the right manager for that scenario, don't you? And when you look at him at Feyenoord, the team he made at Feyenoord, that shouldn't really be beating PSV and Ajax to the title, but did, then won a cup the year before he left on no money, made players better, put them on the training ground, made them better footballers. Now, some of these players that were at Feyenoord have gone to big sides. People were talking about them. That's a Slot effect. Reminds me a bit of Jurgen, that trading on the pitch, making players better. So, yeah, for me, after I got to know who he was and what he was about, completely the right choice.
Look, I'm not going to lie. I'm not one of these guys that, claims, and I say claim because I don't know how many of these people actually do this. I'd love to know where they get the time to do it from, but people act like they watch every league. I don't. Literally watch the Premier League and then the Champions League, and then I feel like even that is just like time's God. So fair play to all these people that can watch all these other leagues. I just can't do it. So I don't really know about him at this point. Like, I think that was my initial reaction. Like, with all due respect, I was like, who? Like, I'm not really. I heard the name because, like you say, obviously he turned down Tottenham, but I wasn't aware of him. I couldn't tell you anything about his football, him as a person. Now I feel like I'm an expert on Arne Slot, and I feel like we can all sit here and say what he's good at and maybe what we need to improve on. And I remember just urging people like, you know what, we've all got our choice. We've all got the man that we want in our heads, and that's fine. Everybody can have a preference, So I've seen some people wanting Thomas Tuchel, which blew my mind. It blew my mind then, and it blows my mind now. Some people were wanting all sorts of crazy managers. Maybe some were even advocating for De Zerbi, which I'm very glad we didn't get, by the way, after the piece of trash that he went and signed at Marseille, but less of that for now. But yeah, I was just urging people, and this is what I always say, even on transfers as well, with the whole Darwin Núñez thing when he was signed. Let's just see how it goes, first of all. Let's just trust the people that are making the decisions and see what we do and see what happens. Because let's face it, whoever we got in after Klopp, whether it was going to be Alonso, whether it was going to be Amorim or Arne Slot, the pressure was going to be the same. Maybe more so on Xabi Alonso's head because he's, former Liverpool player, won Champions Leagues, whatever. But Arne Slot, I feel like him coming into this Liverpool team, the pressure was enormous, because I remember people saying as well, like, if it doesn't hit the ground running, he's an easy guy to sack. And I thought that was quite disrespectful, to be honest, because he's won trophies. Like you said, he's done amazing with AZ Alkmaar. They were top of the league as well when it was, I think, COVID interrupted their season, and then they sort of went downhill after that. Feyenoord did amazing things there as well. So I'm getting to learn a bit more about Arne Slot, and the more I hear from him, the more I hear from people that have watched him and have watched the Eredivisie, it's beginning to sound more like what isn't like for like in terms of the level of the manager that they're at, because obviously Jurgen Klopp is, second to none. Some would argue that, but in my opinion, he's second to none. But in terms of like maybe making a seamless transition from Jurgen Klopp to somebody that is not identical to him but quite similar, I think you're right. I think this was the perfect manager that we could have got. And to be honest, looking at how it's gone so far, I think the club got it absolutely bang on. And if I'm quite honest, I don't think any of those other managers that were linked with us would have had the start that we've had. We've lost one game up until now. It was a horrible game, and we'll get onto that in just a moment. But one loss in what, midway through October, if I said to you, Jamie, at the start, we're going to be top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League table, you'd have taken that all day, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, look, yeah, we got great players. There's no doubt about it. But when you're used to a certain manager for 8 years, that team is very close. It's a very tight team. It's a very tight knitted side. Even the new boys that came in last summer, fitted in straight away. The personalities and people that we want at our football club. So, yeah, even though on paper the fixtures might be, good for us, you still got to win them games. Obviously, you got to put points on the table. So, yeah, performances have been good as well. It's happy at the moment. Obviously, we've got the tough test to come later, but at this moment in time, what is it, 9 in 10? I mean, you can't argue at that, can you?
No, exactly. And there is bigger tests to come, and we've got one on Sunday, which we are going to do a preview show for that as well. So make sure you stick around for that one. That one will probably be Friday night, I think. Let me finalize that and I'll get back to you. But yeah, I think you're bang on. We'll look at the Premier League results. We've had Ipswich Town, we won 2-0. Liverpool, Brentford won 2-0. Man United, Liverpool won 3-0. We lost to Forest, of course. We beat Bournemouth 3-0. We beat Wolves away 2-0, and we beat Palace away as well. So I just feel like that Forest game was a bit of a blip. Obviously, there was a lot of meltdowns around that game, and maybe rightfully so, because that was probably one of the worst Liverpool performances I'd seen in a very, very long time. And there's no way that this Liverpool team should be losing at home to Nottingham Forest. You can literally count on one hand the amount of times we lost to teams like that before now, and it's not very many. So I can understand why people were angry at that. Another reason I can understand why people were angry at Jamie relatively early on into the season is, and we sort of brushed over this just then and went straight into the season, we need to talk about the window and your stance on how we did things and, maybe what we should have done and what we didn't do. So a lot of people in the comments have already been saying about transfers and we needed this and we needed that. With the signings of Mamardashvili, who was a player coming in for next summer, Federico Chiesa, and the pursuit of Zubimendi, which ended in a complete and utter shambles, shall we say. Where was your head at with when, 11 p.m, I think it was on Friday, whatever the date was, deadline day comes, we've signed one player for this season and one player for next summer. What were your thoughts on that, mate? And what do you think of the owners after that?
So I've got so many mixed feelings about it, because I do think we should have got more players in. You've got a new manager coming in. You want to give them the best chance to succeed as possible. Yes, we've got very good players there, but we've got a good squad, but it's not better than City's at the moment. We want to be better than City, so you need to add that sort. You might need to add depth and quality. So I expected us to do more than we did in the summer. I was happy with the Mamardashvili buy, because I think that's for the first time in a long time that the club looked to the future and future-proofing an area of the pitch that massively needs future-proofing, because Alisson Becker's one of a kind, and replacing him last minute would be impossible. So if you've got someone like Mamardashvili already in the door, you don't want Alisson to leave, but you're comfortable if it happens because you've got Mamardashvili there, so you can move on from that. Chiesa as a right winger coming in, I was happy with, because I like Chiesa. I think when he does get time on the pitch and shows what he could do, he's going to be in a stupid bit of business. Or like 10 million quid, whatever it was. But the whole thing with everyone, I think it's the midfielder, and for me it was as well, because you're seeing the way Slot plays, and you're seeing the players he's not using, and you can just tell he desperately needed that number 6 that everyone goes on about, that number 6 that no one knows what a defensive midfielder is anymore either. This is the issue. Because Slot said it himself. He doesn't want an enforcer. He basically wants a deep lining playmaker, an anchor midfielder that can control the game, like McAllister and Gravenberch do. That's what he wants, who can read the game on a defensive point of view and then play with the ball. That's what he's looking for, and that's why he's looking for Zubimendi. That's why he wanted him. And look, what happened with Zubimendi, by all accounts, what I know is that he said yes. The club went forward with it and then made it public knowledge, because they were talking to Zubimendi 2 weeks before it became public knowledge, I do believe. Mm-hmm. So that's why they made it public knowledge, because Zubimendi said yes. But then Liverpool wanted to pay apparently more than the transfer fee of the release clause to do an instalment plan. And because we left it so long, Zubimendi just changed his mind and it is what it is. And we left it there. Now, Michael Edwards, what I will say, Michael Edwards plans transfers a year in advance. He always has done. And he's just come to the football club. And what I know Michael Edwards is not the sporting director, but by what a lot of Paul Joyce has been saying is that Michael Edwards is basically holding Richard Hughes' hands on everything at the moment. So he's involved. He will not panic. Us fans panic because we want everything now. That's what we are. We're fans of a football club. Yes, I think they've got a plan in place in the next 2 to 3 years that will completely change this football club in the years to come. And we'll look back on this and thinking, we just had to be patient. But fans are not patient. I'm like it. I want it now. I'm a fan. It's just the way it is. Yeah. Michael Edwards isn't not like that. He will wait. Remember when we didn't get Virgil and we didn't get another centre-back because there's no point getting someone you don't rate. So they waited and then got Virgil again. So with everything I'm seeing so far, the way Slot plays with this midfield and the people he's not using, I wouldn't be surprised if we go and get a midfielder in January with a certain Spanish midfielder that said no in the summer. It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me because that's a Michael Edwards thing to do.
There was this came out today. It's funny you should say that because I was going to do this later on, but you've just brought a brilliant segue into there. I do think this is an opinion sort of quote. So again, this isn't like, I don't think this is necessarily news, but Ian Doyle says that if Martin Zubimendi wants to leave Real Sociedad in January, I think Liverpool will try and sign him. And that's from Ian Doyle. So yeah, I honestly feel like there was a lot of groundwork done in that deal. Like you said, these things, if we're going to spend that much money on a player and people are like, 50 million, that's still a lot of money, even in today's market, especially if it's got to be like a release clause. I know you mentioned the installments, but 50 mil is 50 mil. So in fact, was it even more than that? I'm not too sure. I can't remember how much it was, but yeah, I feel like there was so much work done into that, and for whatever reason, he's changed his mind. But I also remember a lot of the journalists, I can't actually remember which ones it was, but a lot of the top journalists were saying the door's still been left kind of open for Zubimendi, and it's not a outright no, I'm not going to come to Liverpool. It was more of a not yet, or I'm not ready to leave Sociedad yet. And we don't know the reasons. Like, we can all troll him and laugh at him for saying like he loves the mountains or the paella or all of these things. Yeah, as you do. But nobody knows the real reason. Nobody knows if it was just, I don't know, a decision that he made or his family made or even the club made. Maybe the club just said, look, give us another 5 months. Let us sort out a replacement because we lost Miko Marino to Arsenal. We can't lose both of you in one window. Just give us 5 more months. And then in January, off you pop, whether it be Liverpool, City, Barca, I don't know. Yeah, just give us a bit more time. Maybe that's the reasoning. And Zubimendi is going to be leaving in January. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's interesting that Ian Doyle brings this up. And like I said, I remember, again, it's killing me that I can't remember who it was. It might have been Ornstein. Somebody very big was saying when it happened, basically, that it's not a flat out no. It's more of a not yet. So it's interesting. I don't think this is over. I think there'll be a lot more to come. And that whole January window, we're going to be doing this all over again, talking about Zubimendi. But another player, which, that's cool. I think we'll leave it like this. Another player. Sorry, I was just talking to Jamie off camera. I've not used StreamYard in a long, long time. And now everything's changed. So I'm now a StreamYard noob once again. Somebody put out a point. Here it is. Dustin says, Zubimendi not coming worked out in the end because Grav got the spot. And now it's Jan. Let's talk about Gravenberch because we just touched on the Premier League. And we'll get on to the Champions League in just a moment. But when the whole Zubimendi thing obviously came out that we wasn't getting him, everyone was like, oh, that leaves us with Gravenberch, Morton, and whatever for the 6. I'm not exaggerating when I say I don't think anybody could have come in to play that 6 role and been better than what Gravenberch has done so far this season.
Oh no, Gravenberch is mustard, ain't There's no doubt about it. I do feel like because he was trying to play Gravenberch a lot in the friendlies in that deeper position, and I think he played Szoboszlai once there as well, but he played Gravenberch a lot there. I think Gravenberch would have played. I think Slot has made points of this, no matter who we would have bought. I think Gravenberch would have played. I think Szoboszlai would have been maybe left out. If you look at the way Slot wants to play, this tactical passing, playing through the press, teams coming onto you, good under pressure, press resilient sort of players. You could probably be looking at a Gravenberch, Zubimendi, McAllister in the 10, sort of scenario, especially the way Slot's talked about Szoboszlai in that 10 area. But Gravenberch, yeah, he's look, it's not a biased thing to say. I think he's the best midfielder on form in the Premier League right now.
100%.
One of the best midfielders in Europe on form right now. I think he's been man of the match in pretty much every game for Liverpool in the Premier League and in the Champions League this season. He's been fantastic. The way he receives the ball in that midfield, that half turn he's got, which is a bit Thiago-esque, drop the shoulder half turn he's got. The way he drives with the ball, he doesn't look quick and athletic, but, he just runs past people. He literally runs past people because he's got that lovely long stride. He's 6'3". He's not a weakling in there. He's got presence, And what I've liked about him so far as well, and I think this has gone a bit under the radar, is his reading of the game. I think his reading the game has been excellent because he wins a lot of balls back and he wins a lot of interceptions, and he's always sort of like the defensively right area to win the ball back and start attacks. Him and McAllister in that double pivot, probably in the best midfield partnership in the league this season. And he's been tremendous. And look, and this ain't a diss on Klopp. I just don't think the way Jurgen plays in a 4-3-3 with a single 6 sort of suits Grav's game. Mm-hmm. And I think the way Slot wants to play, especially we play now more through the midfield, don't we? It's less direct. It's more through the midfield. Midfielders have more of the ball now. And I think that just suits his game a little bit more. And yeah, it's an exceptional talent. People forget this kid when he was at Ajax. Him and Jude Bellingham were talked about as the two best youngsters in Europe, coming through. And for me, I think technically he's a better footballer than Jude Bellingham. I really do. I think Jude Bellingham's more of a power and pace sort of player. Yeah, and gets the output. But I think Gravenberch is technically a better footballer. And he's only 22, man. He could be at Liverpool for 10 years. We could be looking at an icon for us in the years to come, because if he carries on this form, you could bring Zubimendi in right now, but, Szoboszlai does, pick up his form. It's going to be hard for him to get in because Gravenberch is on fire.
Absolutely, mate. Couldn't agree more. I feel like when we're saying Gravenberch, a lot of people maybe saw it as, we're sort of signing buy-ins, like not Deadwood because he was only 2021, but like the hype has sort of gone down with Gravenberch. There was a time where, like you say, his stock was incredible, and I remember when he went to Bayern Munich, everyone was like, "How have they only signed him for 20 million?" Like everybody should have been all over that. But he ended up at Bayern, didn't necessarily work out, and Thomas Tuchel said that it was his fault. Basically, I remember doing the quotes on TAT. Thomas Tuchel blamed himself and said, "Look, I couldn't get him in the team. We had Joshua Kimmich, we had Leon Goretzka, we had all these players, and there was just no space for him. So it was sort of my fault that I didn't get him in." And he's playing now, and I think all he needed was consistent minutes, consistent game time. And like you say, he's got man of the match pretty much every game he's played in. And you can see the more he plays, the more confident he gets. The guy oozes in class. Like you say, he's doing things Thiago used to do, those little turns. As soon as he gets the ball on the half turn, reads the game very well. Going forward, incredible. Defensively, incredible. There's nothing really lacking in Gravenberch's game at the minute, and I really hope this continues, that it's just not a purple patch. I think it's kind of gone on a bit too long for it to be a purple patch. So I'm hoping this is Gravenberch now, and this is, him sort of cementing his place in this Liverpool team. And he's saying to them, "Look, guys, if you sign a midfielder, great, welcome to the club, but I'm not going anywhere." And he's earned that. He's earned that sort of right for if somebody comes in. I think if we sign Zubimendi in the summer, everyone's like, he automatically gets in. Now if we sign Zubimendi, does he automatically get in over Gravenberch? Probably not. we'd have to wait and see if he can outperform. And if he does, he does. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But yeah, Gravenberch for me, he's been our player of the season so far, hands down. He's been every single game we've watched him play. He's been really, really good. And I think he's just that sort of combination of a technical six, and he's got that frame. I wouldn't say he's like a beast event. Like, he's not the strongest of players in the world, but his frame and his height, and like you said, his long legs just makes him such a good asset to have in that number 6 position.
He's got that fab. He's got that fab frame, ain't he?
Yeah, exactly.
He's got that fab frame.
Exactly that. Ngoma, we will get onto that question in just a second. Let's just talk about the other cups that we've played so far, because like Alfredo rightfully said, what about Milan? We'll get onto the Champions League now. So we've played 2 games so far, beat Milan in the first game away at San Siro, and that was 3-1, and we also beat Bologna at home 2-0, and I was at that game, and it was not the easiest of games, to be honest. I thought it was going to be walk in the park, a Europa League type of game, but Bologna really, really in that game, weren't they? And let's just summarize them both really quick. I think the AC Milan game, it just sort of, we went there, we showed our class. I think that was the one a few people may have had a bit of concern about. The San Siro, the first game back in the Champions League, you would have preferred it to be at home. But yeah, we just got the job done in both games, really, didn't we, Jamie? Like, professional routine wins.
Yeah, that AC Milan, I will say about the AC Milan game, I think it's gone under radar a little bit, because we lost the Forest, and a lot of Liverpool fans were a bit worried about this. I remember, because I was doing shows, and Liverpool fans in the comments and that were like, yeah, I don't fancy this Milan game in the San Siro. I don't think we've got the squad, because we lost the Forest. There was a bit of disheartenment. And we went to this Forest game and just went to this game in the San Siro. Went 1-0 down in the first 5 minutes. And I think that was their last shot of the game. I think that was literally their last shot of the game. We had total control and just completely and utterly outclassed them. And I think Mo Salah hit the bar twice in that game as well. It was just a completely and utterly we just outclassed them. And yeah, and then you see Milan go, the week later, they go and beat Inter Milan, who's the defending champions in the league, and win their next game as well. So, it's not an easy game like people were making it out. And then obviously the Bologna game, which, you can tell, I think in some games so far, and the Bologna game is one of them, that the players have got it in their head to play a Klopp system and a Slot system still at the same time. So you can see times when they're like, we're 1-0 up, and Slot just wants you to play patiently, take your time, pass the ball, move it, when you've got your chance, try and take it, and they're so used to being a bit more, not less patient, because that'd be unfair, but more gun-ho approach of like, more directness, bang, let's just get goal after goal after goal. And that, then you concede at the back and you let yourself defensively be a bit naive. So I think in games like that, you can tell that the players are still like, they're on board what Slot wants to do, but they got it so put in their brain. It's just like, it's just second memory. And you can do it, they've had Klopp for so many years. It's just, so that's why I think Slot's doing such a good job, because, what he's doing there. But yeah, I think that Bologna game, you could see that they're like, we've got to play patiently, but we're so used to doing it this way that leaves you a bit free at the back. But look, you still got the game won at the end of the day. 6 points out of 6 in the Champions League. You can't argue, can you?
Yeah, exactly. And I think even Slot himself has basically said in interviews gone by that he's not changed too much. He's obviously brought in his own ideas, his own philosophies here and there, but realistically, we're still pretty similar to what we were doing before. And like you said, I think that is a really good positive, because if he came in and just changed everything, so for example, Alonso came in, it would have been like a 3 or 5 at the back, 3 centre backs and all this stuff, and it would have been so much of a change. No one's to say that it could have been a good change or a bad change, but it would have been a lot of change. But I think you bring Slot in, you tweak 1 or 2 things, and you keep a lot of it the same. It's a lot more possession based, a lot more short passes. You obviously see the long balls hit every now and again, but he doesn't want them played all the time as like a hopeful pass. I think if the pass is on, Slot will say play the pass. But say, for example, Chancellor's got the ball at right back, there's nothing on, then he just plays a 40-yard diagonal pass over the top and there's no one there. I think that's going to wind him up a bit. But yeah, I like the changes. Again, I don't understand these people that say like that they've got an issue with people that are saying, "Oh, this is refreshing," because they think you're being disrespectful to Jurgen Klopp. The same people that are saying that were the same people that were saying Klopp's tactics were stale and Klopp's teams were too predictable and all of these things. And now when people are saying, "Oh, they like the changes," they're also moaning at that as well. So yeah, I feel like I didn't want Klopp to go. I never wanted Klopp to go. But that was out of our hands. He went, and I think we've got the best guy in, and his ideas and his philosophies suiting this set of players really, really well. And just on the back of the Champions League before we move to the domestic cup, Jamie, do you think we can win it realistically? Do you think we can go, or at least get to the final? Do you think?
What, in Champions
League?
Or is it
too early to say? Yeah.
I don't know. The thing with Liverpool, I've seen us win the 2005 Champions League, obviously, with a team that's nowhere near as good as the team we got now. You know, against a team like AC Milan that we should not have beaten. You know, yeah. So I've seen us play worse, like worse teams to get the finals. If you look at the Champions League, if you look at Europe as a whole, we've just played 2 Italian teams that finished in the top 4 of their league last year. Pretty easy, wasn't it? Pretty comfortable. Yeah. Overpower a far better football team than the 2 teams that finished in the top 4 in Italy last year. You got Bayern Munich and Leverkusen. We're going to see what we do against Leverkusen. And obviously you got Real Madrid and Barca. It depends what your run's like. You know, if you get to the knockouts, last 16 quarterfinals, when you see what your run's like, you see what you get. I don't see why. Yeah, apart from the 2 German clubs, the 2 Spanish clubs are probably Man City. I don't think there's a lot out there to be afraid of, to be fair. So if you can get a good run going, get a good knockout team, and yeah, why not, man? I mean, look, you got people like Brest, you know what I mean? Benfica. It's not Europe as Europe used to be for me. Slavia Prague, Inter are not great. Atalanta, Sporting, Monaco, Arsenal, Bayern, and obviously Barca and Real Madrid. They're the 3 there. Lille, PSG are not that great. Celtic, Club Brugge, Feyenoord. Yeah, Atletico Madrid will always be a tough game. PSV, Stuttgart.
These is none of these will. I mean,
yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Europe's pretty dead. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, there's 2 teams I think that I wouldn't be comfortable, and this isn't me saying that I don't think we'd win. There's just teams that wouldn't make me a bit on edge, and they're City and Real Madrid. And I think if we played them across 2 legs, I'd be more confident than in a final, because obviously you got Anfield behind you. But I think at Anfield on a Champions League night will literally take anyone. Doesn't matter. Obviously, it's not always been the case. Like the Real Madrid won a couple of seasons back where we took the lead, and then we all know what happened after that. But no, I'm confident. I think we've earned that right. We've seen so much happen in the Champions League at that stadium to not be confident. And it's still early stages. We played 2 games. You know, the big tests are going to come now. We've got to go to Leipzig on, I think it's either Tuesday or Wednesday, and then we've got Real Madrid at home, or Leverkusen. It's Leverkusen and Real Madrid, isn't it? So they're the 3 games I think that are going to tell us where we are, especially the Real Madrid one. We've also got no Alisson as well, so Kelleher's going to have to step up to the plate. So yeah, it's interesting, and like I say, it's very early on. We don't know yet, but I the way I see it, Jamie, is if Liverpool are in the Champions League, Liverpool fans, Liverpool supporters should all be hoping and dreaming that we can win the Champions League. It's as simple as that, really. We've all seen at least 2. Some of the older folk, not looking at you, Jamie, but some older folk maybe have seen a few more. I've only seen 2. I say only 2's incredible. If I died now, I've seen my team win 2 Champions Leagues.
Do you know how mad that is? Do you know how mad that is, saying you've only seen 2?
Only
you know how many
2,
teams in Europe have not even won 1 that are good sides?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look, I don't think a lot of these teams would want to face us, to be fair. You know,
no, I agree.
I don't think they'd want to face us.
Completely agree, mate. Let's quickly talk about the domestic cups, but before we do, I want to talk about a player which could be coming back at the crucial point, Jamie, because Liverpool have just tweeted a photo shoot, a gallery of this man, and he is back in training on the pitch, and it's Harvey Elliott. I'm so excited,
Oh
Jamie. I
wow!
don't know if you follow my tweets. I don't know if you
Yeah.
see what I put on
I
Twitter,
do.
but this boy, I think he's
Yeah, I
incredible,
love
and I
Harvey.
honestly rate him so highly. I think he's going to go to the top. Like some people may think his stocks have fallen. He's had this is his second. Like obviously, this injury is not as bad as the first one, but the first one was a horrific injury. The first one was absolutely shocking. The way he came back from that for me was incredible, and I think he's kind of went under the radar on how he came back and just sort of carried on playing. I think the first season he came back, it was a bit tougher for him. But last season, I thought he was really, really good when he played. When he actually given the chances, and Jurgen Klopp, when he left, he did say one of his biggest regrets last season was not playing Harvey Elliott as much as he should have. And Jamie, I was going to bring on the domestic cups, but as we, look on to the FA Cup, I think that will start next year. But obviously, we've got Brighton away in the Carabao Cup. How important is it to have players like Harvey Elliott coming back into the frame, mate?
Oh man, look, I love Harv. I speak Harv's praises a lot as well. With the bad form of Szoboszlai right now, I think if Harvey Elliott was available to slot, he'd be playing in that position. I think he's quite a cultured midfielder, Harvey Elliott. I've always said this. He's not got maybe the pace and power, of a lot of other players, but he's got a very good pass to him. He's actually got a better final ball than people realise. It's just, I've seen him whipping beautiful crosses on the right-hand side, little dinks over the top when he's in essential positions. He has got an eye for goal now in recent years. I think his numbers have got better year on year. And we forget he's a kid. He's 21. We forget how old he is. He's a superstar of a little player. I think Gary Neville said it once that you could see someone like Harvey Elliott working in Spain because of the way he plays, the way he reads the game. He's very good at receiving the ball and he's got very good passing. He's very cultured. I love the guy. I think he's got extremely high ceiling. I'm a big fan of Curtis Jones as well, but I just feel like Harvey's ceiling's higher than Curtis's, in my opinion. And I also think Harvey outstays Curtis Jones for Liverpool Football Club as well. I think eventually he's going to be top boy at our club in a couple of years' time. Yeah, he's not even fully grown yet into his body yet. It might be why he keeps getting, his bones might not be as strong as should be, and things like that. So, yeah, always missing his pace. If he had pace, it'd probably be undroppable.
No, I agree. But I think like those sort of wingers that Harvey is, where it's more based on his technical ability and flair, you might not necessarily need the pace because your ability is your intelligence and your technical ability. It's not
Yeah.
physical. But again, I think Harvey Elliott, when it comes to his physical attributes, the work he does off the ball, I think goes under the radar as well. He's not the quickest, he's not the
Massively.
strongest. He will work hard, he will track back, and he will defend. And that's what I like about him. I don't think we've found his best position yet. Maybe it's on the right, maybe it's on 10. But what I do know is that he's got a place in the squad. And like you said, I think you put it perfectly. Szoboszlai, he's got a lot of work to do, to be fair to me. Like, I've not been the biggest fans of Szoboszlai so far. I think for the price we paid for him, the comments that were made by our own supporters when we signed him, comparing him to another former number 8, were absolutely absurd. I think he's a good player, but I think he's got a long way to go before we can put him in those conversations as like the best midfielders in the world. A very long way to go. I think on the ball, he holds it for too long, and his decision making at times, to be honest, is quite frankly terrible.
I think Szoboszlai. I have this inkling. I think Szoboszlai will end up being a DM.
Really?
Yeah, I think his Hungarian managers also said it as well. He thinks eventually he will be as well.
Wow.
He's off the wall. He's off the ball work is fantastic. He's actually rated in the game in the defensive position is really good. His ability on the ball is not great. I went back. So because Szoboszlai is a bit of not a myth, so to say, but an enigma, because we all talk about his Leipzig and Salzburg days, like he balled out. He didn't really. He's got a lot of YouTube clips of like 25-yard smashes and 40-yard free kicks and all that, yeah. But most of the time, they're always the same video on loop. It's not like he's doing it. It's not like he's doing it every game. So he's got the ability to do it, but he's not going to do that every game. And especially in England, where you don't get a lot of space to unleash your. How many 40-yard shots do you see go in every week in England? Not many, because you don't get the space to hit a ball that far out. And in and around the box where he needs to be better, for me, Harvey Elliott's better on the ball.
I agree completely.
I think he's far better on the ball.
I just think Harvey's a better player, to be honest. Like, and people have come for me for saying that, but I'm sorry, I'm only basing it on what I've seen so far, and I've not seen, apart from obviously like the physical attributes, Szoboszlai has way over Harvey. Like, that's why Szoboszlai is in the team, because and that is something that we can give him credit for. His pace, his power, his physical presence in that midfield is
and his stamina,
incredible.
His stamina is top notch.
And I do like Szoboszlai, I really do, but I just feel like the way people talk about him, the way they hyped him up, I've not seen it yet. And I think we will see it. I think as time goes on and we sort of nail down what we want to do with this team, we will see him improve. But as it stands right now, no one's safe in this team. And we saw that. Quansah started the season. Quansah had a poor game. Quansah was out the team. So Slot's ruthless. Yeah. And Slot will also say it in public as well. He's not shied away from that. So, he
does it in a good way. That's what I like.
Yeah, I agree.
In a good way. Yeah, I like it.
I feel the same as you. When Harvey's back fully fit, don't rush him. That's the worst thing we could do. But when he's back fully fit, there's his decision to make for the manager, because he didn't claim. He said the other week that as a number 10, Szoboszlai has done some really good things, and aggregators missed that part out. By the way, that's why I always say it, because even though I don't rate Szoboszlai as highly as some people do right now, people just completely left that bit out of the quote, and it made it look like Slot was just digging out Szoboszlai. He didn't. He said that there's some stuff that he does in his game that he really likes, but as a number 10 for Liverpool, you've got to get the goals and assists. And if he's not doing that, and if that's what Slot really wants from him, then Harvey comes in for me, no question about it. Not straight away, like I said. Maybe a cup game is the best way to bring him back in. I'm not sure when he's going to be back. This is still probably early stages for Harvey right now.
Say 4
he's
weeks.
literally just running on a pitch, yeah. So it could be still a while. But it's positive. We're going in the right direction with that one. But just finishing on the domestic cups, Jamie, before we just wrap up everything that we spoke about and talk about our predictions for the rest of the season. And a domestic cup, I feel like, is always looked down upon. And I don't know if it's just this younger generation who only believe the Champions League and the Premier League are the only trophies in football. As far as I'm concerned, we are always competing in 4 different competitions in every season. Unless something disastrous happens and we finish like 9th, because there's a Conference League now as well. As far as I'm concerned, Jamie, I want to win as many of them as possible. I like the League Cup because it's an early chance to get one in. You sort of get that in the bag, and then you look where you are. If you like near the top of the league, you think, right, now we've got one in for the confidence. We go for the rest of them. We kind of tried to do that last season. It didn't really work out. But yeah, League Cup, I think people talk down on it. I don't know why. FA Cup, again, is a massive trophy, which I think gets overlooked on. And I always feel, Jamie, when a new manager comes into a team like ours, the first trophy is often the most important. So domestic cups, mate, are you on the same page as me? Do you want to take them seriously this season?
No, I love domestic cups. I was well happy when we won the cup last season and the domestics, domestic double and all that. I love winning trophies. It's what football's about. You can't always win the Premier League. You can't always win the Champions League. Real Madrid have been around for 100 odd years and played European football since it started, I think, in 1950, and they've won 17 of them. So they're not winning it every year. You know what I mean? It's very hard to win your league title. I think this goes so under the radar. It's extremely difficult to win your league title, especially at this moment in time with Man City in our league.
There's only been one winner from City from 6-7 years. So
yeah,
who was that?
Look at how much we had to push to do that as well. Look at the points you have to get. It's madness. It's draining. It's completely draining. So domestic trophies are important to keep morale up.
100%.
Always is. This is what I've always had a dig at Arsenal about in recent years after Arteta, just beaning off the trophies. Like, they're better than that. It's like, what are you doing?
You know what, as well, like from a personal perspective as well, like, sorry, just to interrupt, behind my head there, you see like a red ticket on my wardrobe?
Yeah.
That's the FA Cup semi-final. You remember when we beat Man City at Wembley?
Great
And I went
game.
with my brother,
What a game.
and yeah, it was one of the best footballing experiences you'll ever have. And if you're lucky enough to get into those games, there's honestly there's no difference from going to one of those games to like a Champions League. You're not thinking at that time, oh, this is only a domestic cup. This doesn't matter. The only thing that matters when you're in the ground, you're at Wembley or you're at Wembley Way with the rest of Liverpool supporters, is that you win this game. That is the only thing that matters in that situation. You win this game. You don't come out of Wembley empty-handed. And yeah, I just feel like the domestic cups are always looked down upon. They have been a distraction in the past, I agree, because we've not really had the squad, Jamie. But now with the squad we have at our disposal, if everyone is fit, there is no reason why we shouldn't be going for these cups. I mean, we've got Brighton away in the next one, so tricky game, bit of a bogey ground for us in the cups recently. But with the squad we have, we should be going for it, shouldn't we?
Yeah, and to be fair, with the League Cup, I actually think the League Cup's more fun than the FA Cup matches. I always think, like, even all the way to the final, I think there's something about the League Cup. It's quite an exciting. I think in recent years, it's actually been a fun tournament to watch, and teams playing. You get high scoring games because teams are changing their teams up and stuff like using their squad. So you can get some really good high scoring games. Some games go to penalties. So you got drama there. I like it. But when you spoke about that, like the FA Cup semi-final between City and Liverpool a few years back, that was probably the two best, apart from Real Madrid, the two best sides in world football going at it in a cup semi-final at the time.
Oh.
It was elite football. You wouldn't have got that anywhere else in the world at that weekend. That was elite as elite can get, right? So, yeah. And teams take it seriously. Mourinho, when he first came to England, what did he say? I want to win the League Cup because it's the first trophy. It's important to start somewhere. I think it's important for Slot as well, and I think he will rotate correctly. Because you've got to, you can't just go full strength in everything. You've got to rotate, trust your squad.
He did at the start, didn't he?
Yeah. I think, look, personally, I think Slot will play his strongest 11 as much as he possibly can, but will rotate here and there when needed. But yeah, League Cup, I'd love to win the League Cup. Come on. I mean, look, we've already beaten West Ham. That team's out of the way. We've got Brighton away, win that. Then what is it? The quarterfinals, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, quarterfinals.
Lakers.
Then the January. Be our Lakers. So yeah, League Cup, man, FA Cup. Yeah, win what you can. When you look at your honours list, it's Premier League, FA Cup, domestic cups, Champions Leagues, and at the moment, Liverpool are the most successful team in this country because we keep winning domestic trophies. It's important.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. I never have a bad word to say about the domestics. I love them. Let's wrap this up then. Let's talk about the predictions or maybe not predictions, predictions, I guess, for the rest of the season. What we think Liverpool realistically can achieve. I'm going to put you on the spot because you are the guest, Jamie. I'm going to come to you first. What do you think Liverpool managed to go on and achieve for the rest of this season?
I think Liverpool can win the title.
Ooh.
I think if you look at our squad, and it's based on doing business in January. If we can get a midfield, look, if Liverpool go and get Zubimendi in January, and the team stays fit, you can't argue that shouldn't go and compete for the title. So I think Slot could do something crazy. I think Slot could do something this season that would just, how much it'll pay everyone off if Slot won something this season. I've got receipts, Ben. I don't know about you. I've got loads of receipts. So
yeah, I've got a whole folder, mate.
I think Liverpool will compete for the title. I think they got a chance of winning it if they can keep the players fit and buy someone in January. But realistically, I think we'll finish third with a domestic cup, which for Slot's first season without his players yet. You've got to remember, these are not his players yet. He's not really got his team going yet. That's a tremendous start to Slot's reign, in my opinion. And you can see as a fan, right, we got something going here. We tried to compete for the title, maybe dropped out towards the end, won a domestic trophy. Yeah, there's something going here. Let's see what the future holds. So, yeah, I think we're going for a good year, man. I don't see us dropping like stones. That's just madness to think. People thinking that was just mad to me. Like we got like all these players we got a doodah. It's like it's madness.
What about Champions League?
Champions League. It all depends on It really depends on on knockout stages who you get paired up with. I think Liverpool get into the knockout stages. I think we're finishing the top 8 of this league table. It takes you automatically through,
Yeah,
which means you get the Christmas period off from Europe.
Oh wow!
Because it goes till January, don't it? It don't stop at Christmas this time. It goes till January. But if you get into the top 8, you don't play at Christmas time in Europe. You come back after in February. But the playoffs are in December and January if you finish below the top 8. So finishing that top 8, I think, is a massive deal. I think the only points we can possibly drop for me is the Leverkusen and Real Madrid games. Other than that, I think we win the rest. And then it all depends on who you get. Like if Liverpool get grouped up with, I don't know, Leipzig or some Monaco or something like that in the last 16, I'm not going to say book your ticket, but you're looking at that's a quarterfinal space, should be anyway. And then you just got to see how you go from there. I think it's just I want Real Madrid in the knockout stages, quarterfinal time. Because I think if you go beat Real Madrid, you've got to get them early. Don't get them in the final because you're just not winning. They just got a hoodoo and they just know how to do it. But if you can get Real Madrid in the quarterfinal time over 2 legs, I think you've got a chance of getting it done. And we were dog turd the last time we played them in 2 legs, and we still scored goals against them. And we was in that period of weirdness as a Liverpool team, weren't we, under Klopp that year? It's just nothing worked.
Yeah.
And, we fell out the Champions League spots and everything. It was just a weird year. And we still scored goals against Madrid. We're a better team now. Give me Madrid in the quarters, man. Let's go for it.
I mean,
get them early, man.
I'll see how that group stage game, the league game goes first. I will be at the game, which I'm excited about because
sweet.
When you think of the talent that's on that pitch, it's just insane. Like, I don't think I would have been to a game where there's like that much talent on that. I've seen many teams where have had like incredible players, but that Real Madrid, every single player in every single position pretty much is world class if you think about it. So to see that our team and their team, it's going to be incredible.
They're not playing well. They're not playing well at the moment.
They're not. No, they're not. And I think we've got a chance. I honestly think we've got a real chance if we can.
And Madrid fans want Ancelotti out. It's mad.
Wow. Yeah, if we just go at them,
they're cold, don't they? They're cold.
Yeah. And if Anfield just wakes up to what we know Anfield can be, come on, we've got a massive chance here. And I think if we did go and beat Real Madrid at Anfield, that would be a huge statement to the rest of this competition. Like, you know what, we ain't messing about here. Like, we weren't in it last season, and it was terrible. Going to Anfield on a Thursday night was, look, I love going to Anfield. Getting myself up to go on a Thursday night was not good. I think one game my brother couldn't even get to, so I had to stay over. And it was the game where we beat Toulouse. Do you remember when Darwin Núñez almost scored the best goal of all time, but he put it into Rosette in the cup? Yeah. There was that one. But I think honestly, even Leverkusen, if we beat them, and Leipzig's not going to be an easy game either. I think the next few sort of weeks / months, especially weeks, because we've got some mad fixtures coming up. It's going to tell us a lot about where we are. We're not getting ahead of ourselves. I think that's a good thing. No one's saying we're definitely going to win the league or we're going to win the Champions League. I think the players so far and the manager have given us the reason to, be optimistic. I'll say at this stage. I think the hard work and, we will really see what comes out of these next few weeks. And that will tell us where we are because you've got Chelsea, the worst game to come back to after the break. Thankfully, it's at Anfield, so we've got that at least. But not the game we probably would have wanted to on a Sunday, yeah. And then straight over to Champions League action a few days later. away in Leipzig, and then we're back, and then it's just crazy. The next few weeks is mad. So we will cover it as much as we can. We'll do live reactions, we'll do pre-match videos as well, and streams and stuff. The daily content's not going anywhere, but the live streams are going to keep coming. Got some special guests, some big guests coming up on the show as well very shortly. So we'll leave it there for tonight. So Jamie, thank you so much for coming on. His link is in the description down below, so make sure you go over to Jamie's channel. It's an amazing Liverpool channel. Make sure you subscribe and show him some love over there. And anyone that's been in the comments tonight, appreciate you all. Make sure you are leaving a like. And yeah, we will see you next time. But for now, take care and good night.